Alrighty, guys, let me just close these curtains up here a little bit. And let me get settled in. Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Garage Talk with Doug. I just want to start out by saying that I'm feeling a little poorly today. Had dialysis last night, must have eaten something that didn't agree with me, and I've been paying tribute at the Porcelain Gods. A little too much information, maybe. In any case, I'm looking forward to you folks calling in with your questions regarding anything automotive. We discuss everything and anything automotive here at this channel. Uh, Hope you like the thumbnail that was up there. In fact, if you recognize it, post what it is, or what you think it is. Uh, Today I just wanted to try and take it easy a little bit, just field some questions. We'll see who's coming up here. We'll give it another minute or two. In the meantime, I just want to talk a little bit about noises that you might hear on your car. I experienced one myself today. I took the car out. I just got it back from the dealership yesterday. They replaced a lighting control module aboard my 2003 Mercury Grand Marquis. It was a recall item. Believe it or not, they issued a recall on that, and even though the car is 15 years old, they covered it in its entirety. In fact, not only did they cover its entirety, they gave me a loaner car for 3 days while my car was in the shop. So I thought that was pretty cool of Ford. So my hats go off to those folks at Levittown Ford for taking such good care of me and providing good service for me. John Dolan, how are you, buddy? It's good to see you. I'm going to rotate the device around here a little bit. I want to just double check, make sure that my auto rotate is on. All right, so give me just a second here. I should have done this before I started, but my apologies. I'm just a little out of sorts today. Okay, auto rotate is back on. So let's go back to this. And that should work now, hopefully. Let's see what we have here for chat. No, that's still not working quite right. So let me see what I can do here. Alrighty, give me just a moment here, folks. Yeah, auto rotate should be on right now. Let's see what. All right, let me know what we got here. John, you got any questions for me, John? I am, always eager and anxious to try and help everybody out. It's right now? Okay, that's good. Let's see. John, tell me what happens when I flip it this way. Hey, tagging the catching fresh breeze. It's good to see you back on again. Glad to have you aboard. Of course, if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask away. Is the picture sideways right now, John? John, if you can answer me, I'd appreciate it. Is the picture sideways right now? Anybody? I hope we're right side up. Any questions? Let's keep the questions coming. By the way, I got a notice from YouTube. I have now broken over 100 subscribers to my channel. I'm very grateful for all of you for that. And it looks like I'm consistently getting over 300 views from my videos. In fact, the first one, which was the worst video that I think I've put out to date, because I had a lot of technical issues, picture was sideways, audio was cutting in and out, had over 470 views. The others are hovering around 310 to 312. I appreciate all of that. It looks like I have 8 people on board right now, so step on up. Ask you automotive-related questions, and I'll try and answer them for you. Just to give you a little background on myself, I always start out by saying this. I am a retired 35-year veteran as an ASE certified master auto technician and a teacher of automotive repair and technology in the high schools, in the tech schools, and in the colleges. So I have a lot of experience to bring your way, and hopefully we can go from there. Okay, John, you said the picture is right side up right now. John's asking, what's the right oil to use in a Briggs & Stratton lawnmower engine? John, I've always used a straight 30 weight. All right. If you can go online, look up what Briggs & Stratton recommends for your particular engine. I always recommend using whatever the manufacturer suggests. You know, after all, they're the engineers. I'm just a mechanic. I don't claim to be an engineer. You know, I generally go with whatever the manufacturer recommends as far as SAE grades. SAE is simply the Society of Automotive Engineers, and the SAE rating on motor oils pertains to the viscosity, or what we call the thickness of motor oil. All right. More importantly, how easy does the oil flow at cold temperatures? Now, with a lawnmower, you're putting it up, you know, for the winter, so you don't generally tend to need multi-grade oil in a lawnmower. But, you know, use what the manufacturer recommends. As I said, I've always used a straight 30 weight in mine. I find that that works out well. I use that not only in my lawnmowers, but my pressure washer and, you know, other items that tend to get put up for the wintertime. I would not use that in my automobile or my motorcycle. All right. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Hope that helped, John. All right, tagging to catch a fresh breeze. I have a quick one as I have to go pretty soon. My old truck threw a crank position code last week. After the code, it ran like crap and wouldn't shift properly. All right, once I cleared the code, it was fine. Yeah, you might have a problem with the crank position sensor. All right, that's what it sounds like. You know, if it's not picking up correctly, it will throw a code and it will cause the vehicle to run like crap. All right, as you so put it. Yeah, once you clear the code, what you're doing when you clear the code, all right, I just want to explain something about how these computers, especially the engine control module computer, works on these automobiles. You have what they call closed loop and open loop. Now, closed loop is what's pre-programmed onto the computer by the engineers so that it has a base for the engine running properly. All right, you follow me so far? Once the engine is warmed up, it switches over to what we call open loop. During open loop, the computer is looking at all the sensors and taking that information, diagnosing it very quickly, and adjusting the fuel delivery, the ignition timing, and all of the other parameters to adjust for the way the engine is running. Okay, so that's the difference between closed loop and open loop. So when you reset your code, basically what you did is you throw it back onto closed loop. You'll have to take it through what we call a drive cycle. All right, and once you go through a full drive cycle, you'll start running open loop, open loop again. And once you start running open loop, we'll see if that code comes back. If it does, my suggestion is to probably take a look at the crank position sensor and making sure that that's operating properly. All right, that can be checked with a digital voltometer. You're checking the resistance, you're checking the the voltage, making sure that the voltage was in the correct parameters. All right, as well as the resistance on the circuit. Biggest problem with crank sensors is the grounds go bad, and that's what tends to cause a code to set. All right, hope that helps you tackling to catch a fresh breeze. Brett Stevens, welcome aboard. Sailmaster, how are you? Good to see you. Okay, Sailmaster says, before you start your stream, turn your phone horizontally, then start it. All right, I will do that from here on out. Thank you, Sailmaster. How's everybody doing today? As I started out saying before, I'm feeling a little under the weather. Rough dialysis last night, and then I ate something that didn't agree with me, so I'm paying the price. As a result, I may keep this rather short. Okay, let's see what other comments we have here. Sailmaster asks, Doug, what's your thoughts on a new turbo encabulator? I'm not sure what you mean by a turbo encabulator. All right. I just don't know what you're talking about, Sailmaster. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit and educate me a little bit because I don't profess to know it all. To know it all, I know a lot, but I don't know it all, and I always find that there are other people out there that know more than me. So I'll be the first to tell you that. All right, so keep the questions coming. Yeah, you've got to search that. You'll get a giggle. All right, Sailmaster, I'm not going to do that now, obviously, because I'm in the middle of a live stream, but I will look into that. A turbo encapulator. Or maybe encapulator? Capulator? All right, we'll look it up and I'll take a look. As of right now, I don't have a clue. I need more information before I can form any thoughts or opinions regarding that. All right, let's see. All right, Sailmaster, I trust you. All right, we'll check it out, and I'll get back to you on that. We'll talk either on under comments or whatever. By the way, folks, anytime that you don't catch me online, you have an automotive question, you can always leave it under my comments. I do check the comments, and I will get back to you. If not, during the week, then on my next live stream. Regarding the live stream, folks, I have an announcement to make. We're going to move the time. I've had a lot of comments from my viewers on the West Coast. They said that Saturday, at 11 o'clock their time is a little early for them, and they asked if I could make an adjustment. I am going to adjust it. I decided I'm going to start coming on at about 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoons, and I also hopefully will start soon putting out a show on Sundays. I'm not sure what time on Sunday yet, but we'll see whether we can do that and try and accommodate some more people. It depends on how many views I get and all that. I don't want to, start an extra show and only find my views cut in half. I am trying to build this channel right now, and I need all the subscribers I can get. So, please subscribe. Please tell your friends, your neighbors, acquaintances, whatever, that hey, there's a guy on YouTube that will help answer your automotive questions, and he doesn't ask anything of you other than you subscribe to his channel. I would appreciate that. Yes, Sailmaster, it's rough. I've been doing dialysis for a little over 8 years now. It's something that I was born with, and it's just part of normal everyday, getting on anymore. And unfortunately, it is what it is. And my alternative is they plant me in the ground, because if I didn't go for dialysis, I'd be dead within about a week and a half to 2 weeks. So you do what you have to do. We all have to step up and bite the bullet in order to accomplish what we want to accomplish. Let me go on from there. Oh, Waukesha, you like that, huh? Cocktail hour. Yeah, 5 o'clock is better for you, I guess. It's only a 3-hour time difference, so it would be about 2 in the afternoon there. Yes, Sailmaster, I don't believe that you're trying to cause any trouble. And besides, if I find out that you do, I've said it before, I'm not going to tolerate it. But so far, all of you have been, very polite to me, very cordial, and I appreciate that. I harbor no animosity toward any man. I think you know that about me by now. Everybody has skeletons in their closets. And, sometimes those skeletons are brought into public light, and we don't like it. Sailmaster, no problems, no worries, buddy. It's all good. Brett Stevens, thoughts on ethanol additives for everyday use? Well, ethanol tends to be a bit on the corrosive side. I don't believe in using ethanol as an additive. All right. It's bad enough that the Environmental Protection Agency has gotten involved and is putting ethanol into our gasolines. Ethanol is fine as long as you have a vehicle that's designed to run on ethanol. Those vehicles are equipped with special fuel lines that don't corrode and are susceptible to corroding because you're running ethanol through it. Think about what ethanol is. It's an alcohol, and alcohols can be corrosive. All right, so keep that in mind as well. If you're going to run your car on ethanol, have it re-equipped with the proper fuel lines and fuel hoses so that you don't get corrosion, or breakdown of the hoses, because that will end up ruining your injectors. Okay, hope that helps, Brett. All right, JD asks, Doug, when you buy new tires for your vehicles, what is your preference brand-wise? You know, I don't really have a preference brand-wise per se. I'll tell you what I have been doing. When I go to research tires for my own vehicles, I usually go on Tire Rack. Tire Rack has reviewed many of the tire manufacturers and, has tested these tires specifically for the vehicle you're looking to put the tires on. And I've found over the years that they are usually right on the money. Uh, for winter tires, I'll tell you, I do like the Bridgestone Blizzaks. I run those for snow tires on my cars. On the BMW, I put Continental tires on. I have a BMW X3 that the wife drives. It's a 2007, and I put new Continental tires on that last year. I've used Toyo tires in the past. I've used Yokohama's. Some of these Japanese tires manufacturers are very good. The most important thing is to look at the temperature rating of the tire, the tread wear rating, and the traction rating. All right. Temperature should be A or B. All right. Traction, the higher the number, the longer the tire is going to last. But you're trading off a hard rubber compound for a soft rubber compound, so you may give up some of the, what I refer to as stickability of the tire. In other words, how well does a tire stick to the ground? All right. A soft rubber compound is going to stick much better than a hard rubber compound. All right. JD, I hope that helps answer some of your questions. Yeah, check on Tire Rack, see what they recommend for your particular vehicle. You'll be able to look at other customers' ratings of the tire to see how they've fared with it, and I find it very informative. Sailmaster, thanks, Doug, appreciate it. John, it's fine, but that video was funny. It was made as a joke, and they use big terms that will make no sense. Yeah, like the Knudden bearing, or your muffler bearing. Yeah, I will check it out. Oh, an additive for counteracting the effects. Yeah, Brett, that's fine. Okay, I follow what you meant now. And Brett was talking about, additives for ethanol in the fuel. Yeah, it's a good idea. Once a year, running, an additive through that'll help clean the fuel system. I've used with much success a product that's put out by Chevron. It's called Techron Fuel Additive, and it will help clean the entire fuel system, the fuel injectors. If you're a carbureted vehicle, it'll clean out the carburetor, your jets. It will help remove varnish and gunk that builds up over time. So I hope that helps. That's called Techron by Chevron, and that's available in any of the automotive parts stores, or any automotive department, such as in Walmart or Ace Hardware or whatever. What's your opinion on FCA? Asked Wooey. Wooey, you got to clue me in. I'm not familiar with FCA. What do those initials stand for? Yeah, John, like chrome go-fasters or muffler injectors. Yeah. JD, glad I was able to help. Thank you. All right, tagging to catch a fresh breeze. Sorry I had to step out for a minute after having to clear the code 4 or 5 times over the next few days. It has now stopped throwing the code. Yeah, it kept throwing the code. Yeah, get that, you can go to Advanced Auto or AutoZone. They will run a free diagnostic check of your, check engine light and your computer codes, and they can tell you, what sensor is malfunctioning. They will even help guide you to what may be causing it. But generally, when you throw a code like that, it's the crank sensor that's gone bad. All right, so keep that in mind. Project Farm, says Sailmaster. Oh, Fiat Chrysler automobiles, Roy. Fiat is the largest manufacturer of automobiles in Italy. And since they've hooked up with Chrysler, I think they're moving in the right direction. That is both companies. I'll tell you what, I do like the new Fiat Spider Turbo, the Abarth edition, very much. I think it's a very nimble little, what is it, 1.7, 2 liter? I forget what it is, whether it's a 1.7 or 2 liter. But, it's a 4-cylinder turbo, intercooled, and they're very nimble, a lot of fun to drive. They handle great, and they're just a blast. You know, you put the top down, get the wind in your hair or what's left of your hair, and have a lot of fun with it. All right. You have a Fiat 500 Abarth. I love them. They're so fun to drive. Yes, they are. Willie, I have a 1979 Fiat Spider, the 124, that I bought. I'm looking to restore it. I haven't really started restoration other than to replace the fuel tank. I did get it running, but it needs a tremendous amount of work, and I'm hoping to start that project come next spring and, you know, maybe a couple of years down the road, have it finished. So, you know, hopefully I'll be providing you some video of that as we get into it. Okay, let me get back here. Alrighty. Yeah, enjoy that Fiat 500 Abarth. They, you know, they are a lot of fun. You know, it looks like you only have enough room for your ass and a gallon of gas, but, you know, they are a blast to drive. Very, very nimble little vehicles. And very fuel efficient. Very fuel efficient. All right. Let's see. Any other comments? Keep those questions coming, folks. I see I have about 14 people on. Please hit the thumbs up if I'm, you know, if you find me to be informative, if you find I'm helping you in any way, shape, or form, you know, please don't be afraid to hit the thumbs up. Folks, we're about 25 minutes in. I just want to repeat again, any information I pass along to you on this channel is strictly for informational purposes. Any diagnosis needs to be performed by preferably a certified auto technician doing diagnostic tests and road tests, and then they need to present you with a service report as to what needs to be done to your vehicle to repair it. All right. Yes, I know I need to set a profile picture. I do not have a computer that works right now. I cannot set a profile picture from my cell phone. I can also not do a description of my channel from my cell phone. So as soon as I get my computer up and running, I will take care of that. I will post my links. I will put a profile picture up, you know, and all that good stuff. By the way, anybody recognize the thumbnail that I posted? What kind of car was that I displayed? You know, if you give me a minute, I'll show it to you again. All right, just a second here. All right, anybody recognize the blue car that's down there without me giving it away? Anybody recognize that? What kind of car is it? All right, if you know, please comment. There's another car over here, the white one. I'm not going to tell you what that is. Ford fans might recognize it, though. I'll give you that hint. And the other one, you know, should be pretty obvious as to what make that is. Okay, let me switch the camera back around here. Alrighty, let's see what we have here. Doug, I just replaced the left front wheel bearing on my 2012 Avalanche. Do you think I should also change the right front? How many miles do you have on it, John? All right, well, John is answering me. Okay, John, you are very close. It's a 1971 Chevelle SS. That's exactly what it is, with the 454 under the hood. All right. I'll try and give you a little better shot of it later on. Does anybody recognize the Ford? That's going to be a little bit tougher. All right. 74,000. Yeah, John, I would change them both up with that kind of mileage on it. It's probably not going to be long before the other side starts to go. You know, the most important thing to do is keep those bearings packed with grease. You know, generally I like to pull them apart, you know, at least every 10 to 12,000 miles or about once a year, and repack the bearings if it's a repackable bearing. If not, you just let it go until the bearing goes, and then you replace it. That's all you can do, unfortunately, anymore. Waukesha Pilot got it right. It is a Ford Talladega. Now, let's see how good you really are, Waukesha. What year is it? All right. In the meantime, Jojo asks, are you up to scratch on European vehicles? Just need to know for future problems, especially Land Rover Freelander LR2. I don't have extensive experience with the Land Rovers. However, I have worked on them in the past. As I said, not extensive experience, but, I like to think that I do know my way around them a little bit. John, yes, you're welcome, John. Yeah, I figured they were sealed bearings on that Avalanche, John. I just know that generally they are sealed bearings on the newer vehicles these days. Even my 2003 Mercury Marquis has sealed bearings. In fact, to replace the wheel bearings on that, I have to replace the whole bearing and hub assembly, which contains the ABS sensor and the magnetic wheel, which is a bit costly. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. It cost me about $80 per side. And, I used to be able to buy just tapered wheel bearings with new races and all years ago, get a whole set of them for under $20. So, yeah, that's what the manufacturers and the engineers have done. They like to keep us plain folk from working on them is what it is. Don't let it stop you, though. Yeah, stock up on blinker fluid there, Wooey. That's funny. Wooey says I need to go change the blinker fluid on my Fiat. When I was driving trucks, we used to see, truckers that used to leave their blinkers on, and we used to get on the CBs and let them know, hey, there, trucker, you're about to run out of blinker fluid. Yeah, it's funny. All right, guys. More questions. Please keep them coming. I see I've got about 15 people on. Don't be bashful. By the way, I was looking over my demographics, I should say, and it looks like all of my viewers are 100% male. I'd like to get some women on here, too. I mean, I know a lot of women that would be grateful for getting some of their automobile questions answered. So, pass the word along to your wives, your sisters, your aunts, whatever, and tell them to tune in. Carl, not a problem, brother. Always good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you bought some questions for me. Carl, when does the big unban happen? What unban, Carl, are you referring to? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean, Carl, so maybe you can elaborate for me. All right, folks. I am banned, but no, you're not banned here, Sailmaster. I've told you that. Okay, I just told you all before. All right, I don't care what kind of problems or things you have going on with Carl. I wish you'd stop it because I think it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's my personal feelings on it. Everybody, as I said before, has skeletons in their closet, and if you don't want yours bought out, then you shouldn't bring other people's out. All right? People who live in glass houses shouldn't cast stones. All right? But as long as you're cordial on my channel to each other and me, I have no problem with you. Yeah, Carl, how's it going on the dinghy? Just for the heck of it, since JoJo was asking. All right, I'm not here, JoJo, to tell anybody what to do. It's Carl's channel. He needs to run it the way he sees fit. I run my channel the way I see fit. Like I said, as long as everybody's cordial to one another, we all get along. All right, that's what it's about. Okay? Yeah, Carl, did you bring a note for being late? You're allowed. Come on, folks, I'm waiting for some more questions here. All right, we had a little trivia, and John and Waukesha got that right. It was a 1971 Chevelle SS that I was showing you, and a 1969 Ford Talladega. So, let's see. Sailmaster Doug, I know you're feeling down. I'm telling you, when you watch that turbo video, you're going to smile. Yeah, I probably will. I've seen some pretty crazy things from back in the 70s. I'm really wondering if it's the real Carl, Brett. Generally, you'd chime in by now, so I'm wondering. Because I've been getting my share of problems too. I don't want to go into it because this is not the time nor the place. All right. Any more questions, automobile related? Come on. Okay, Carl, I'm glad to hear it's you. I hope so. Sailmaster, thank you. I try to be. I just try and put out there what way I want people to treat me. That's the way I was raised, and that's the way I was brought up, and that's what I have tried to practice in my own life. Wooey, am I stupid for almost buying a used Maserati? The key word there is almost. I don't know what kind of discretionary income you have, Wooey. If you certainly can afford to buy a Maserati and to maintain it, more power to you. It's the maintenance of it that's more costly than buying it. You can buy, a used Maserati for a fraction of what they used to go for new, but it's the upkeep on the damn things that's going to cost you a fortune. They're beautiful cars, don't get me wrong. I admire Maseratis very much, but, very, very costly vehicle to maintain. All right, more questions, folks. Keep them coming. That's what this channel is all about. I have had comments from people asking me, well, why don't you do videos and post them? First off, I don't have the wherewithal as far as cameras and editing devices and all that to do videos right now and upload them. Maybe down the road in the future as, money may come in. We'll see what I can do. But there are tons of people out there on YouTube that do how-to videos. I was more about, when I formed this channel, answering your questions, your everyday questions about automotive repair. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Okay, let me get back to the chat. All right, Wooey says 2009 Maserati Gran Turismo, 30,000. I didn't buy it because of the maintenance. Yeah, it was probably a good idea. 30,000 isn't bad for the car, but man, you could drop 30,000 in maintenance into it very, very quickly. Very quickly. All right. Yeah, Carl, I am enjoying my day. My wife and daughter went up to Connecticut for my niece's 1-year-old's birthday. I decided to stay here so I could do the chat with you folks today. I was going to go, but it's probably better off that I've stayed home because I am not feeling well. All right. Hey, Doug, how are you? My 2003 Buick LeSabre won't start. There are no lights whatsoever on it. All right. Start with the basics. How's the battery? Check the battery. All right. Do a load test on the battery. See if the battery's any good. If the battery's not, try charging it and then perform another load test. If the battery tests out as being no good, start by replacing that. Check your battery cables. Check both the ground and the positive cable going to the starter. All right. Both cables need to be in good shape. All right. I hope that's a good place for you to start. All right, Miss Char? Or is that Miss Char, as in Charlotte? Or Charlotte, I should say. Charlotte was my sister's name with an L-E-T-T-E at the end. Would I be interested in a used wheel bearing for my 2007 Avalanche? John, I appreciate the offer. In the future, I'm going to go down to my friends' shops, see what used parts I can rummage from them so I can do some demonstrations, with you on the chat. Yes, Sailmaster, it does give me something to do, and, I'm grateful for that. I was getting kind of down and depressed because of my medical issues. I felt that I wasn't, contributing much anymore to society, and that kind of gets you down. You feel kind of useless. So I am grateful that Carl talked to me about starting my own channel and that I did follow through with it. Yeah, Waukesha. Waukesha says, yeah, just asking only bad. I changed both. Well, we're looking into buying a BMW instead, Doug. Probably more reliable than a Maserati anyway. Yes, it is. It's still an expensive automobile to maintain. I bought mine used. I'll be honest with you. I paid $9,600 for it about 3 years ago. Bought it with about 58,000 miles on it. It's got about 82,000 miles on it now. So, yeah, even though I've put about 30,000 miles on it, I have had to put thousands of dollars into it. It's needed valve covers. It's needed... ignition coils, it's needed this, that, and the other. problems with the with the four-wheel drive and the transfer case, problems with the transmission. It's like any used vehicle. It's going to require repairs and maintenance, and especially when you don't know what the repair history was of that vehicle before you bought it. So my suggestion in buying any used car, try and get a repair history by looking at receipts that, of what people have done to their vehicle as far as servicing and repairs go. It's always a great way to start. Miss Char, good to see you. I'm glad to have, I assume that you're a woman. It's good to have women on my channel. I do appreciate that. If you have any automotive questions, please go ahead and ask. I'll be happy to answer them for you. Willie says, probably buying used, but I'm single, so my car pretty much is my wife. Probably cheaper than a wife anyway. Yeah, usually. All right. Usually much cheaper than a wife. So enjoy your car. All right. Yes, Carl, I got my Ford back. Yes, they took care of it. They picked up the tab on a rental. I started out the video by telling people that my car was in for a lighting control module at the dealer. It was a recall item. They had the car for 3 days, which is kind of ridiculous, but they're so busy up there at that dealership. And they put me in a loaner car for 3 days and paid for my rental. So, I'm not upset at all. I really am not. I think that they did fantastic service by me. Yes, Waukesha, magnetic ride control on my CTS. Yeah, watch out for potholes because even though you have magnetic ride control and it's like riding on a cloud and it adjusts, instantaneously to road conditions, you hit a severe pothole, you're going to bust out that, magnetic strut, and they are super expensive to replace. So keep that in mind. You thought airbags and air suspension systems were bad? Wait until you have to go and repair or replace one of those magnetic struts. Brett, I don't think that it's really unnecessary maintenance. I think that they tend to strive more maintenance than, maybe you're doing it a little bit too often, but I don't think it's unnecessary. I don't believe that you can change your oil too often. I don't believe that you can maintain your vehicle too much. The more maintenance you do, the less chance you have of mechanical breakdown. In fact, the auto manufacturers now, in most of the manuals, will tell you that you can go 5,000 miles between oil changes. We used to say every 3,000 years ago, but that was before the advent of semi-synthetic and synthetic motor oils, which is what most car manufacturers are recommending be used in their cars these days. If you're still using conventional motor oil, I still recommend you change it every 3,000 miles or every 3 months. Carl, did you get the iPad? If so, you may want to try LumaFusion. Oh, not even addressed to me. Guys, Sailmaster, maybe you can, drop Carl a PM just so, you're not interfering with what's going on here on the channel. I would appreciate that if you could do that for me. All right, folks. We're coming up here on about the 40-minute mark now. If you have any other questions, I'll be free. I'll be glad to answer those for you. If not, I'm going to think about wrapping it up because, as I said, I'm feeling a little under the weather. I don't necessarily want to go a full hour. I went almost an hour and a half last Sunday because your questions just kept coming in and they were really good, and I really appreciate them. I want to thank all of you for viewing my channel. I hope that, I'm being informative and giving out some good information to you. Get back to me and let me know. All right. If I'm able to save you a few bucks, maybe you can throw me a small donation via my PayPal. All right. I can't post my own links, but my PayPal is www.paypal.me/Douglas Imbergamo. That's DOUGLAS IM as in Mary BERGAMO. Also, if you tune into Sailing with Grandpa, Billy Fun also tends to throw my my GoFundMe link up. So I appreciate, if you could help out in any of those forms. It's very much appreciated. As you may or may not be aware, in addition to being a dialysis patient, I went through triple bypass heart surgery this past January. I've had two knee surgeries, hip surgery, had my parathyroid glands removed, and this has all been within the last 2 years. So, I've had a bit of a rough time. My medical bills are out of control. Even with Medicare and secondary insurance, the co-payments alone are killers. So, if you can help out in any way, shape, or form, if I've been able to help you, I greatly appreciate it. I believe in, what goes around comes around, and I do believe in karma. Sailmaster, don't be sorry. Everybody's got their crosses to bear in life. This one just happens to be mine. I'm not sorry about it. It's just what is. And, as an adult, you learn how to cope with those things. Well, Keisha Pilot, yeah, why don't more cars have heads-up displays? Because they're expensive. You have a high-end Caddy CTS, beautiful car. Yes, it has, a lot of gadgets on it that other car manufacturers are not putting into theirs. But Cadillac has always been kind of the leading edge of technology. John, thank you. I hope it's a good live vid. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Wooey, I've had a heart condition my whole life. No fun at all. Yeah, Wooey, I know. My daughter is going through it too. I don't want to elaborate. She gets pissed off when I talk about it, so I'm not going to say anymore. Brett Stevens says, take care. Yeah, Brett, I try to. I go for my dialysis sessions regularly. That's what keeps me alive. In fact, I was just at the cardiologist. He has pretty much given me a clean belly. He just wants to pull me in. It's been about, it's been over 6 months now since my heart surgery. He wants to pull me in to do an echo. So I have that coming up the end of the month. Yes, your car tells you when you forget your phone. Yeah, it's pretty cool, Keisha. Like I said, the tech on these Cadillacs, Cadillac has always led the way in technology. And, they do some pretty amazing stuff. But the simple answer to why no, HUD displays on a lot of the cars is because they are expensive. And the car manufacturers don't necessarily want to put them in. They should offer them as an option, I think, and let the consumer decide. Why not offer it as an option? Seatbelts were originally offered as an option. Power steering was originally offered as an option. Air conditioning was offered as an option. Power brakes were offered as an option. Power windows were offered as an option. Shall I keep going on? I'm not. All right. Any more questions, folks? Come on, keep the questions coming. All right, getting back, I started to talk about noises and unusual noises coming from your car, and I told you I experienced one today. At first, it almost sounded like a bearing on the lower end of my engine. Now, I take very good care of my engine. I keep the oil changed when I'm supposed to. I use semi-synthetic oil. In fact, I bring it to Ford for my oil changes because I get a deal at my dealer. He does one oil change for about $40, and then the next one is on him. All right, that's the oil, the filter. He does a multi-point inspection, checks my brakes, looks over my hoses, my belts, just gives the car a good going over, checks my tires, tire wear, inflation. He does a lot of nice things, and it's a free check, when I bring the car in for an oil change. So like I said, I pay for one, I get the other for half price. I should say not half price, for free. It's a buy one, get one. And how can you go wrong with that? So, in any case, I'm driving my car back from the dealer, and I hear this noise, and it almost sounds like it's coming from the lower end of the engine, and it's getting louder as I accelerate. Well, today, I went out to the convenience store and came back, and I heard it again, and I decided to throw the car in park and then rev the engine. And guess what? It's not the engine at all, thank God. All right, because I certainly wasn't looking to having to do an engine rebuild or an engine replace on, a 15-year-old car that only has 54,000, not even 54,000 miles yet. It turns out, folks, it sounds like my muffler went. All right, and what I hear rattling around inside the muffler housing is probably a baffle. At least I hope it's the muffler. I haven't gone under there to look yet. I have a very good friend of mine with a muffler shop. He owns a Meineke here in Levittown. His name is Danny. Good guy. I'll probably bring my car up to him where we can throw it up on a lift and take a good look at it. And if it needs to get replaced, maybe he'll let me video that and I can upload it. So we'll see what we can do. Alrighty, back to the chat. Carla Brook, is that, no, spells it different. Carla, I hear that all the time. People do love my voice. I've heard it on Carl's channel when I've been on. I was told as a young man that I should have gone into public speaking or radio. I don't have a face for television. I have a face for radio, that's for sure. But yes, I have been told that. In fact, here's a real funny short story. One of my wife's bosses used to call here, not to talk to my wife, but just to hear my voice. She used to ask me to talk to her because she liked the sound of my voice. So I'm glad you enjoy the sound of my voice. I'm hoping you'll tune in, become a regular subscriber. And if you have automotive questions for me, please, please, I don't care what the question is. If you think it's silly, there's no such thing as a silly question. The only silly question is the one that doesn't get asked. Okay? Audio is popping? I'm sorry about that if my audio is popping. How is it now, Carl? Is it any better? Yeah, Waukesha says, I have no spare or room for one. None run flats now. Should I be worried? Not necessarily, Waukesha. I'll tell you a quick story. I leased a Hyundai Elantra a couple of years ago for my wife. The car came without a spare. All right, it came with an air compressor and a fix-a-flat. That was what they were using. Okay, and I thought it was ridiculous. I personally like a spare. Okay, even if it's a space saver spare, it's good for 50 miles or so. Of course, you're not supposed to run them over 50 miles an hour. You're also not supposed to run them more than 50 miles. But that's more than enough to get you to a tire shop where you can either get a replacement or have your tire repaired. Carl says it's better. Yeah, good. I'm glad that the audio is better. Maybe I was holding my finger in a bad spot. Maybe not. I don't know. But, yeah, that's probably what I was doing, was covering the mic with my finger. Thanks, guys, for letting me know. Hopefully this is better now. All right, any more questions before I decide to wrap this up for the day? All right, keep in mind that next week we're going to be on at 5 p.m. instead of 2. Okay, that's to accommodate my listeners out on the West Coast. Waukesha, I know that you commented you like that already. I didn't see Seeley on today, but Seeley is up in Alaska, and I know he'll appreciate that. He was another one that asked if I could come on a little later. He said 11 o'clock in the morning is a little too early to crack a beer. So, I can appreciate that even though I don't drink. I shouldn't say I don't drink. I drink occasionally, and I drink very little. All right. I have to be conscious of every drop of fluid I put in my body because my kidneys don't work. I have to rely on the dialysis machine to take that fluid off. All right, so I have to be very careful. In general, they don't. The doctors prefer I don't consume more than 40 ounces of fluids a day. And by fluids, folks, I'm not talking about just liquids. I'm talking about anything that turns to liquid at room temperature. Ice cream, Jell-O, pudding, any of that stuff. All counts as liquids. All right. Yeah, Andy will probably appreciate it too. You're right, Carl. All right, folks, if that's it, I'll remind you again, hit the thumbs up button. Please subscribe to my channel. If I was able to help you, pass the word along. The more subscribers, the better. I'm trying to get this channel to grow. I finally have broken over 100 subscribers, and YouTube sent me a congratulatory note. Thank you, YouTube, for that. My views keep increasing and improving, and I hope to continue to build this channel and then turn it into something really big. Maybe one day I'll be the next Click and Clack. Alrighty. No more sitting on the front porch drinking beers. Yeah, John, we did enough of those back in Ohio. It was kind of crazy back then. We had 2 refrigerators in the house back then, folks, and we kept half a keg in one and our food in the other. Yeah, we consumed our share of beer back in those days, but we were out on a 300-acre tree farm in the middle of nowhere. That's what we did. We were young, and we were 18, 19 years old at the time. And yes, at that age, we could buy beer legally at the age of 18. So yeah, we did. Yeah, Carl, we were 18 then. Yep. Yeah, we turned 19. You first, in August, and then me in November. Carl and I are pretty much the same age. There's just a couple of months between us. Life expectancy on the shocks. Waukesha, those shocks should last well into the 100,000-mile mark. Well into it. All right, I know people that have gotten 140, 150,000 miles off of those magnetic shock absorbers. Okay? Yeah. As long as they're not abused, as long as you're not hitting any major potholes or running through sinkholes or anything like that with it, you should be fine. You be the judge. Do the old bounce test. Get on each corner of the car. I mean, this is how we check shock absorbers. Bounce the car, let go of it, see if it bounces more than 1.5 times. If it does, then you know that the shocks are worn and need to be replaced. Also, if you see any oil leaking from the shocks, that's a pretty good sign that the shock is on its last legs and needs to be replaced. So keep that in mind. Even though they're magnetic, they're still oil filled. All right. Jojo, get back to the work on the dinghy. Carl, you're hogging your friend's chat. Oh, stop it. Jojo, be cordial, okay? Sealmaster, have a good evening. Doug, get some rest. Yeah, I plan on it. I will check out that turbo encapsulator. Yeah, I'm sure I'll get a good laugh on it. All right. Yeah, Waukesha says he's only got 50,000 miles on it now. Good to go. Yeah, you should be good to go, Waukesha. All right, folks. On that note, I'm going to end it here. Please tune in. Remember, the new times will be Saturday at 5 p.m. Okay, that's Eastern Standard Time. So for you folks on the West Coast, I believe there's a 3-hour. I believe we're on a 3-hour difference right now, so that would be 2 in the afternoon there. We'll see how that time works out. I know a lot of you football fans. I don't want to interfere with college football. That's why I'm a little hesitant to do it on Sundays or Monday. Well, Mondays are no good for me because that's a dialysis day. But I'm a little hesitant to do it on Sundays as a result of that. But, we'll figure it out as we go. I'm looking forward to your input regarding, my times and what you'd like me to discuss. You can always leave a comment for me on my channel, and I'll be happy to get back to you. If I don't get back to you right away, it means that I probably had a good topic that a lot of people would enjoy, and I'll share that with you on my live chat on Saturdays. Until then, folks, everybody have a great week. Happy motoring. And until then, this is Doug signing off. Have a good evening, all. Bye-bye.